Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Tuesday to everybody who is out there. My name is Fifi Magosi. I am the acting Senior Vice President and Chief Procurement Officer here at the Washington Metropolitan Area Transit Authority. I bring greetings to you from our General Manager, Mr. Randy Clark. I hope everybody had a good morning. You had a great commute. I hope some of you used we're virtual, so nobody was traveling anyway. Sorry about that. I scratch it. But I wanted to welcome everybody here today. I hope you have a lovely day. I hope this session is going to be informative as much as possible. I wanted to thank everybody for showing up, and I wanted to introduce our lovely Michelle M.V. Howard, who's our Director of Metro Small Business Program Office. So Miss Michelle has an oversight of our 5 socioeconomic programs, which she'll tell you a little bit more about. I have the pleasure of introducing her to you and her team, and I want to thank everybody who is here, who's helping with this project today. You guys are doing an amazing job. Thank you very much for putting this together, and I hope everybody has a lovely day today. Michelle, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Fifi. We really appreciate your welcome and your greetings. I love it when you're on with us. Thank you so very much. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for participating today in WMATA Small Business Programs Office Outreach Filing Season 2024 Information, Resources, and more. Okay, this is about your business. This is in collaboration with IRS. It's going to be presented by Ms. Veronica Tubman. She is a senior stakeholder liaison there, and she will be accompanied by Mr. Chris. He is going to add some valuable information as well, and we are excited about having them to join us this morning. I just want to always remind you that at WMATA, certification is the key to participation. And we encourage all those that are not certified small businesses to please come on and get certified with WMATA. We do have 5 socioeconomic programs that you can be certified in. We have our disadvantaged and small business enterprise programs, and that's on our federal side. But we also, if you don't know, we have our new non-federal local programs, and that's our minority business, small business, and micro business programs. So please check out our website and learn more about these programs. We are definitely open for business, and we want you to be a part of our contracting opportunities. We are your metro, the way forward. Please make sure that you put all your questions in the chat, and remember to fill out your surveys that will be sent to you after the outreach. These surveys help us to plan events that can benefit your small business growth. So please send us those surveys or send us an email. Let us know some of the topics that you're interested in learning that can help your business. So thank you again for attending the session. I want to introduce to you Ms. Veronica Tubman. She works for the Internal Revenue Service in the Communications and Liaison Division as a senior stakeholder liaison. As a senior stakeholder liaison, she focuses on providing educational outreach to small business owners, community associations, self-employed individuals, practitioners, payroll preparers, tax professionals, and other diverse groups, as well as state, local, and as well as federal agencies throughout Maryland and beyond. She is a member of the National Webinar Cadre and is firmly committed to increasing educational resources, sharing key state tax messages, maintaining opening lines of communication, developing working partnerships, and reaffirming the current ones. I am so excited about having her here today. I'm telling y'all, you need to make sure you're going to ask her some great questions and just take down a lot of notes, because we want to make sure you're getting what you need before that filing date closes. So at this time, I am going to bring on Veronica and Chris. And again, thank you guys so much for everything.
Thank you so much, WMATA WMATA, for inviting Internal Revenue Service and Stakeholder Liaison. Again, my name is Veronica Tubman. Thank you so much for the introduction. And thank you all for taking time out of your schedule, making that additional commitment to your business. I am accompanied by my associate, Mr. Christopher Green, who will be assisting as we move along. And I thank him for joining us. So as you know, I work with the Internal Revenue Service as a senior stakeholder liaison, and our office is in downtown Baltimore. We're right at Hopkins Plaza. We collaborate, participate, conduct, inform, create, facilitate, we market. We even have social media, believe it or not. IRS has finally joined the social media ranks. But moreover, we need to work on our delivery and our communication with our tax outreach messages. You know, there is so much related to industries and practitioners. So what I'm going to be sharing with you are the PowerPoint presentation is going to be geared toward what is going on with the current filing season. And I am also going to provide lots of resources. I will also provide my contact information and my email information. The only thing that I would really like to ask that as we go along, if you have any questions and believe we would like to hear them from you, put them in the chat, but refrain from using any personal identifiable information. And we want to emphasize that enough because this is a public forum. And if you have any issues that require a little bit more specificity and some privacy, then feel free to reach out to me and we will take it from there. So we're going to be sharing information. We're going to talk as we go along. This is interactive. If there is something that you require, let me know. Raise your hand if you have to, put it in the chat. And that's why Chris is here to help us. So we know the filing season is upon us. We're going to talk about some updates. And that is the purpose of this presentation, to provide you with those resources that are going to guide you through the filing season. So we're going to get started. So getting IRS help. So what does that look like for you? And what does that mean? So first, you know, it is always important to have a hands-on resource. And I strongly encourage all of our small business owners to be empowered as well as being informed. So what we have here is just how to navigate. How do I get started with the IRS? How do I research those concerns? So on this particular slide, in the upper right-hand corner, and this is directly from our site, you would type in the subject matter that you're interested in. And it's kind of like a little Google site, but it will provide you with the information that you need. So this is our official site. It's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So we are available for you when you need the information. If you go on a site and it does not look like this one, close the browser and get out of that particular site. So our site is www, and Chris is going to put it in the chat, .irs.gov. That is our official site. If you get anything that does not have the .gov extension on it for IRS, then you are very possibly in the wrong place. So we want to make sure that you are there with us. So whether you're on your home computer, you could be on your mobile device. A number of our taxpayers visit irs.gov throughout the year. If maybe you run across a link that's not a good link, let us know. We will make sure that we get that adjusted. So, you know, I'm going to highlight free file, where to file, and looking at your online account. So we've got lots of information that I'm going to share in a few minutes. But there's also a tool which lists many of taxpayer-related frequently asked questions. So then you can go right on irs.gov/help/tools. And with this presentation, all of the links are active. So let's move on and take a look at those tools. So what we have here, as we are aware, there are many of our small business owners and our self-employed individuals who English is their second language. And as I stated during the presentation, all the links are live. So if you click it, it will take you where you need to go. So just be very mindful that we understand that there may be some difficulty in understanding the language. So that is why we are trying to accommodate everybody as we go along. So to enhance the experience, like we said, there are seven other languages. We have Spanish, Vietnamese, Russian, Korean, Haitian Creole, and Chinese, and that's simplified and traditional version. So Also, we have basic tax information in 21 languages. So if you have to call us, let us know so that we can assist you in that capacity. I speak fluent French. If you come into the office, then they will just let us know ahead of time. I will make myself available. Whatever your language is, we will make sure that we accommodate you. So, IRS is trying to make sure that everybody is informed, that you are empowered, and that you have that information that you need to get your taxes processed. And if you don't, then we will make sure that we will find a way to make sure that you get that. So all of these languages, you just click on that drop down menu. We have the 1040 schedule, LEP, which is for limited English proficiency for you. And as we stated, if you have hearing or visual problems, we will be more than happy to assist you. Included in the language link that you see here, we have information for you also in more than 350 languages. So it just depends on what your area and exactly what you need. So let's take a look at this. So I mentioned that taxpayers should use irs.gov as their first and primary resource as we move along to our next subject. So what we're looking at now, it says, let us help you. This is a page, it's a wide range as we talked about, it's translated, and I have highlighted some of those areas. So a lot of what we have here are going to be resources. I'm not going to discuss each and every one. We're going to try to hit it, and then we're going to keep moving along because we have a lot of good information to share. So next we're going to talk about the IRS guide, and that allows taxpayers to get the help that they need. There is a publication 5136, and that's the IRS Services Guide. And you can share that with yourself, your family, and share it throughout your community. It has hyperlinks and IRS downloads for electronic distribution. So you can share that as well. So next, we're going to talk about the interactive tax assistant. As we said, I'm really big on hands-on tools. So it will help you with eligibility and claims for child tax credit center, earned income tax credit. And also, you as a small business owner, you might say, what expenses are deductible? And this interactive tax assistant will provide you that as well. So the information is taken. The information that you input is used to provide you with the answer that you need. We don't retain any of your information. So once you close that browser, the information is gone when you exit that particular topic. So for individuals, and this is a hands-on opportunity. Chris, you have to go back one, my dear. Okay, there we go. So there's one user ID and password access. So you have your online account. You can't remember exactly, maybe you lost some of your records from 2023. You can go right online and all the information that is related to you is readily available right at your hands. You can get a transcript online. Hey, well, maybe my business, it's my time to try to go and apply for a loan. You can pull up a transcript at that time. You may have some concerns with having a balance for a previous year. Go right online and you can apply for an online payment agreement. Also, we have something called an IP PIN, and that's an identity protection PIN. So some people may want that. Maybe I choose not to use my social security number. You have an opportunity to use an IP PIN. And for identification verification services, you might be applying for a loan, a mortgage, any type of financing, and you can utilize that particular service to verify your income. So all of the services shown here are available. So keep that in mind. We talked about those online accounts on the next slide, and that will give you some detail again as to what you can receive. Your tax records, we talked about notices and letters. If you get a notice from us and you are not sure whether or not that notice is legitimate, feel free to give me a call or email me, and we will take a look at it to make sure that the information that you are getting is valid. Maybe you want to have a taxpayer representative. Watch those authorizations, and you can as well update your profile here. So we're going to keep moving along because we are getting into the filing season information. This is just background. Our next slide talks about accessing your IRS online account. As a reference, we talked about that, and you can share with your members and your customers. So let's talk about our IRS tax assistance centers. We call them TAC. Remember that search engine box I told you about? You can put TAC there. You may have some questions. We are open all year long. You can come into the office. You can file your return with us. You can get your transcript in hand immediately. There are over 250 of them that have extended hours now because it's filing season. So maybe, hey, I don't get off until 4 o'clock. You can make an appointment from 4:30 to 7 to 6 in the evening. So we're trying to accommodate you at this time. Just go right online to that link, make your appointment, and come into the office to get your assistance. If you are having some concerns with making an appointment and there is a date that you cannot seem to get depending upon your location, give me a call and I will be more than happy to speak with the tax center to see if we can get you in to be seen. So be very mindful of that as well. Chris, do we have any questions so far?
The chat is blocked, Veronica. I don't see any questions in the chat.
Okay. So we will just make sure that he can have access to the chat, but we're going to keep moving along. So just make sure that you have that, the availability may change without notice. So make sure you go online, take a peek. Here are those appointments that we talked about in different languages for you. But moreover, here we are because we are getting ready to file because we don't have a lot of time left. April 15th is vastly approaching. So getting ready to file. So as we are getting ready to file and moving forward, the IRS encourages you to check out, what do I have? What do I need to make sure that I'm prepared? And I recommend as a small business owner that you start out with a record-keeping system that works for you. Some of us put our papers in a plastic bag, others of us use them in different capacity. So what is most important is what service works best for you. And that's what we want to encourage you to do. Just make sure, and on this particular slide, the yellow highlight talks about those resources, those things that you need to make sure you take a look at. So now we talked about getting ready, sharing the information. And like I said, lots of resources for you. We're not going to go into a lot of specificity because we want to talk about those benefits that you may be entitled to for this particular filing season. Okay. So we have free tax return preparation for qualified taxpayers. So if you make less than $64,000 or less, you can get free, and it's volunteer income tax assistance program, or we call it VITA. You may have a disability or limited English proficiency. We are always available around to assist you. If your income exceeds that minimum amount, go online, or you can give us a call, and the telephone number is listed. It's 800, and this is for VITA, 906-9887. And Chris is going to put the VITA locator tool telephone number in the chat for reference. Okay, so let's keep moving along. And we talked about free tax preparation. Also, we have guided tax professional or tax preparation right online if you make less than $79,000 a year. And we also have free file fillable forms if your adjusted gross income is $79,000 or less. So as a small business owner, you have those records. You have all of the information you need, and you can have that particular tax return prepared online. So the most important thing as we're moving along is talking about choosing a return preparer. A lot of individuals aren't really sure what kind of return preparer should I have for my business. The most important thing when you're looking for a return preparer, go right on irs.gov and we will give you all the background information. So you're an auto mechanic. then you need to make sure that you are looking for a particular preparer that has credentials and qualifications to assist with whatever your business is. And I would like to congratulate all of you on your commitment to be small business owners and self-employed individuals. You've put your time, your energy, but most of all, you've put in your name into a reputation to provide a viable service to all of our communities. And I just wanted to take this opportunity to commend all of you, regardless of wherever you are in getting that business going. Okay, so we also, as you check that preparer out, make sure that they are credentialed. And we have a filing season program record of completion, and it's public knowledge. So make sure you check out that as well. And do you trust someone to prepare your return? If you go to see a preparer and they will attempt to guarantee you a particular refund or dollar amount and they have not looked at your information, you bid them a firm goodbye and then you find another preparer. That's just the word to the wise, which is always sufficient. So we're not dealing, we got to make sure that you choose a reliable preparer. And then if you suspect that there is an abusive preparer, there is an option for that as well. If you, like I told you, if you walk in there and that person guarantees you something, then we would like for you to report an abusive tax. They have tax promotions and tax preparers as well. Make sure you report those. So you file that return and then you want to check out what your tax refund status is. We have lots of ways for you to find out. We have lots of tools. You can go online. We have an IRS to go link that's on your phone. Also, you can go to www.irs.gov/refunds to find out what in the world has happened to my refund. All right. And this is just the Where's My Refund app. As a reference, like we said, IRS to go mobile app, we have a hotline. Also make sure that you add these not only to your file folders as a reference, but make them an active link on your, you can do it on your phone or you can either do it on your laptop. And make sure you share that with your clients, your members, and your customers. And suppose you need a transcript. Well, I am a small business owner and I am getting ready to apply for that loan that we're talking about. You are growing your business. So, hey, some of that stuff I can't remember. Did I file it? What happened to it? Also, unfortunately, if you have a disaster or something of that nature and you need a transcript to talk about the evaluation of your stock, evaluation of your goods or services, or even your inventory, we will be more than happy to provide you with an update for that. Chris, if you see anything in the chat, stop me as I go along. So make sure we have a publication 4201 if you need a transcript. And also, if you need to pay online, it is a secure payment. You can make those payments online. You can pay a bill. You can make estimated tax payments. You can pay your payroll taxes. And also, it's much faster than using a check or a money order. All right. And again, just more resources for you if you need to make a payment. Just make sure that you share that as well. And then next, we're going to talk about a paycheck checkup. So you are a small business owner. You need to check and make sure at some given point that you have adequate withholding. Again, any information you put in on any of the apps that we have online, once you put that information in, and it will let you know. So as an example, last year you owed $4,000. You need to make sure that you are making estimated tax payments of at least $1,000 every quarter. Or if your spouse is salaried, making sure that they have that additional withholding to come out to make sure that you are protected. All right, so we're going to jump into speed mode now. We talked about the paycheck checkup using the tax withholding estimator that we talked about. It's available in Spanish, but moreover, preparing for taxes is a year-round kind of thing. You don't want to start trying to get everything together in February. You want to start making those good habits as a business owner. But more importantly, I want to encourage all of you to make sure you have 2 separate accounts. Don't commingle your funds because you won't know how well your business is doing if you're pulling away from your personal, depending upon what kind of business you have. So, and The new issue here of late is the Form 1099-K, which deals with payment cards and third-party network transactions. This kind of bloomed during COVID. And so we're talking about debit cards, check cards, goods in excess of $20,000. People are doing it on Cash App. This particular process was a part of the American Rescue Act, and that was for the Form 1099-K. So you're making money, selling things, and providing goods. What impact does that have on you? Go in and take a look and try to understand, should I be using a Form 1099? Do those reporting requirements apply to me? So now we're getting to the good stuff, maximizing your refundable credits. So for lots of us, we have earned income tax credit, child tax credit, or the American tax credit. And if you have already filed your return, we're going to move down a little bit, but I say don't walk away leaving money on the table. You may have to file an amended return to make sure that you can go back and take full advantage of those credits. So make sure if you have that earned income tax credit, we call it an EITC. It's a refundable credit, and that's for someone or self-employed as well. If you're self-employed, you're entitled to earned income tax credit, certain disability payments. So to qualify for this, you have to have earned income at least $63,398. And that's depending on your status, your children. The maximum credit is $7,430. So don't walk away leaving money on the table. And if you need credit with that, let us know. We'll make sure that you don't lose that. And the earned income tax credit, like we said before, there's always an app and there's always a worksheet. So you can determine your eligibility for the EITC as well. Child tax credit. And these were the credits that we were talking to all of you about. It's for any children under the age of 17 at the end of 2023, and that you provide over half of their income. That determines if that child is your dependent. And that is the most important thing. How do I provide care for that particular individual? If you provide over half, they are considered to be your dependent. So for the ACTC credit, it's up to $1,600 per child. So again, I say, which may be refundable, don't walk away leaving money on the table. And we also have a child tax credit eligibility tool for you. I provided you with that link as well. And we have the American Opportunity Tax Credit, the Premier Tax Credit. But most of all, this is what I really want to get to you before we start talking about business expenses on our next slide. It's not too late, and I am screaming to let everybody know that for the recovery rebate credit, which is $1,800 per adult and $1,100 per child, if you do not apply for this credit by April 15th, the money is gone. It's only there for 3 years. So if you have 5 children and there's $1,100 per child, well, I will let you do the math. So if you have already filed that tax return, make sure that you get some assistance from somebody so that you can file an amended return, that you get full care for that tax credit. And as we move along, I have provided lots of resources to help you with those credits. And they're just references for you because I really want to get to any questions anyone may have. Help with prepare to get your tax return done. So now we're going to talk about something that faces us all the time, is protecting against identity theft. If you get a call from IRS, we are required by law to provide you with our name and our badge. So when you call and you interact with IRS, as I said, name, badge, get the date and the time and the person that you are speaking with. If someone calls you and they make any types of demand, I need to know your bank account. I need to know your social security number. You are not required to answer any of those questions. And you know, my motto is when in doubt, check it out. Give me a call. And if you say, I got this call from some Christopher Green and who is this person? I will be more than happy to tell you who he is. If unfortunately you may have dealt with somebody else that did not provide you with good service, then let me know. But most of all, it's a lot of scammers around during this time of year. So we won't demand payment. We won't ask you for gift cards. We won't ask you for money orders or any of that stuff. Just be very vigilant and do not allow yourself to be threatened. Protect your business, protect your reputation, but moreover, protect yourself. We don't want you to become a victim of identity theft. It's not a good thing. Also, I encourage you that if you haven't recently, get a copy of your credit report. By law, you are required to get a copy, or you can get a copy of that credit report once a year. So make sure you protect that. If you start getting notices in the mail, or if you start getting things that are a little strange to you, I also encourage everybody, if you don't, get two-factor authentication. So you go in, then you get this code sent to your cell phone to verify exactly who you are. And we talked about that IP PIN earlier. Unfortunately, if you are the victim of identity theft, you can get that IP PIN, and that will assist you in case something is stolen. Shred, burn, whatever you want, to make sure you take good care of your records. If you're not using those anymore, then you need to make sure that they are disposed of properly. Lock your machine, turn your machine off. But moreover, be very, very careful when you are in a public setting using Wi-Fi. Sometimes that does present a challenge for many of us. So Chris, we're going to take like a half a minute to see if there is anything in the chat for us so far.
So far, we just had one of our business owners, one of our participants, ask if we will have these links, and this is being recorded so that they can have access to it later, go onto these links. That was the only thing that I could see in the chat so far.
Okay, most definitely. And then we know we're going to have some questions toward the end, but you will get the information. What I would like to also do is that I am going to share your questions and the responses so that you will have those as a reference for yourself for the future. So thanks a lot for that. So if you are the victim of identity theft or data breach, make sure you reach out to me, and I will walk you through that process. But security awareness is important for all of us. Take good care of your personal information. Make sure that you have backups for your information. If you have employees that leave your business, make sure that you change those passwords periodically. You may even want to consider getting insurance protection for that, and change those passwords quite frequently, maybe once a month or so. Make sure you have a plan in case something happens to you. Don't use the password off the router. A lot of times that may happen. Don't click on any suspicious links. Just take your mouse and hover over top of the information that you get, and that will let you know who that sender is. So just make sure that these particular publications that you share with everyone. So we have something every year called the Dirty Dozen, and we just want to make sure that you don't fall prey to the Dirty Dozen. And this link will let you know that's something you should familiarize yourself with as you move along, and don't become a victim. So we talked about that IP PIN a little earlier to help you prevent you from being a victim. But also I want to talk to you as small business owners of making sure that we talked about retaining good records before, and your expenses. What can I deduct? Did I get a new vehicle? Can I depreciate that vehicle? All those types of things. I'm just throwing in those little helpful hints. I'm going to give you a series of resources shortly. But back to the IP PIN. I don't want to flip all over the place. But just in case something happens, make sure that will protect your online account if anything does happen to you. But an IP PIN still protects your tax account as well. So if you need that IP PIN, make sure that you get it. More resources. Some people, I may have been a victim, say last year, of an identity theft that was taken care of. I don't need an IP PIN anymore. You have an option to opt in or opt out of that particular program to help you get along for products and services. And then next, we're going to have a talk about social media. Everybody's on social media. We have updates that can assist your small business. In addition to us being on social media, we have an option called e-services for tax professionals. We have e-services for small business owners. Remember earlier we were talking about your area. If you are perhaps a daycare provider or something of that nature, we have e-services and tax publications that deal directly with that. Also, the state provides input for us. State and local government jurisdictions provide us with information for that as well. So just make sure you avail yourself to tax changes, scam alerts, initiatives, products, and other services. And we have a filing season partner promotion bundle. You can take a look at that. We bundled up everything electronically. All of the links in the presentation are active. So we're going to get to some business resources now. So what I did, I went in and I provided active links related to your business. We talked about accessing, going online, tax preparation. If you have to make a payment, we talked about that paycheck checkup, and also for that standard mileage rate. So you got that great new vehicle for your business. Are you going to depreciate the vehicle? Are you going to take the mileage rate? Also, we are going to talk about the clean vehicle energy credit a little bit later on. So next, we talked about theft, whether you're opting in or out, and small business and self-employed tax center. We talked about that a little earlier. That is industry specific. And now with COVID, a lot of us are working from home. So what part of my home can I depreciate where I am working? What part can I use? What part holds my business information? What part of my home holds my inventory? So those are the types of things you can find out at the Small Business Self-Employment Tax Center. We also have a publication called Business Use of the Home, and that will help you as well. I think, moreover, a lot of people have lots of questions as well. Exactly what can I claim as a business expense? What I really want to continue to emphasize, and I'll say it again and again and again, set up a good system to maintain your records. How am I going to maintain those records? So I had a business meeting last night for dinner, and we discussed my new upcoming product. You can either write it on the back of your receipt that you keep. If you maintain a paper receipt, you can write it on there, scan it, maintain the paper, set up a folder in your email, and that will also help you with sending that information to your tax preparer, or even if you prepare your own taxes. I think a big question, we talked about business use of the home, but here is the elephant in the room. Am I an independent contractor or am I an employee? That speaks to behavior. As an example, if I'm a real estate agent, I might rent a desk at ABC Realty, but because I set my own scheduling, my own time with my clients, my in and out, that deals with control. That tends to lend itself to you being an independent contractor. Me, I am an employee. I am told when to come into work, when to leave, what to do. So that gives more control to what I am doing. So those are the kind of things you want to consider when maybe you want to hire a few employees. But moreover, also what I need all of you to understand is starting a business, whether you're in a business or not. We have free small business virtual workshops that can help you with that as well. Also, you need to find out, what type of business entity am I? Am I a sole proprietor? Am I a partnership? Am I an LLC? Am I a corporation? But be careful with LLCs because they have lots of different designations that you need to make sure you avail yourself to. But those free small business virtual workshops, they're available anytime you'd like to look at them. Also on irs.gov, we talked about that little search engine box. You can plug in what you need right there and it will pop up. If you require credits based upon your profession, if we have any webinars, you have to look at those live. But at any given time, you can always go back and take a look at it. We talked about those refundable credits. Like we said, it's not too late to go back and take a look at that return. Don't leave money on the table. I say the best money is the money that's in my pocket. Make sure that you are making those estimated tax payments, that you are timely, and make sure that when you deal with IRS, you are entitled to certain rights. We are required by law to provide you with quality service. And if you are not getting that quality service, then that may be a learning opportunity for an employee. Maybe you didn't ask the right questions, or maybe they needed to get additional information from you. So we need to make sure that you get that quality service that you deserve. Also, Chris is going to put in the link. We were talking about that clean vehicle energy tax credit. Chris, if you're going to put that in before we conclude, because we're going to go ahead and start in on our questions and answers right now. But I wanted him to put the information in there regarding the clean vehicle tax credit. So just know that that clean vehicle tax credit is not only related to new cars, but used cars as well. They are helping to improve the environment. So you might consider a hybrid, but you want to go in with that information when you go in to negotiate your price, when you go in to negotiate how much your business is willing to spend on a vehicle. Keep that in mind. It's a great incentive. We want everybody to take full advantage of it. If you click on it, it will give you all of the details related to the clean vehicle credit. So let's see. And if you have any other questions regarding that, you want to walk through it with me. I have been educating all of the used car and new car dealers throughout the state of Maryland. Of course, you know, I can't recommend anybody to you, but I need to make sure that you have those tools that you need when you go in. So these are going to be your takeaways. Establish your business entity. What type of business am I? Make sure that you have an active business plan that will guide you through the next years. Take a look at your financial records. Set up good bookkeeping so that you will know what is and what is not working. Surround yourself with those professionals that can assist your business with growing. Set up 2 separate bank accounts so that you're not commingling funds, because you won't be able to track your progress if you are commingling funds from your person and your business. Whether your records are going to be electronic, paper. You know, some of us will put everything in a big old plastic bag. Some of us will put it in a shoebox. Others of us are very electronically based. We talked about that mileage for that vehicle that you have. I think there are lots of apps. I think Google may have some apps that you can use to track your mileage to assist you with that. For me, I have a little teeny spiral pad. Don't laugh. And that is how I track my mileage when I am traveling. But whatever works for you, because it's in the door. When I get in, I pick it up. I put my date in there. I put my to and from. Stop laughing, Chris. And then I put my mileage in there for that. And then I know, you know, my comings and my goings. But for your business, what type of business do you have? Depreciate those steel toe boots, that flame retardant attire that you have, all those special things that make your business such a wonderful asset to our communities. Just keep all that in mind. So Chris, we're going to take a look at the chat and see what we have in the chat.
All right.
What's in the chat?
I don't have any questions in the chat, but I do have I want to say another takeaway. I want to reiterate something you said. Don't leave money on the table. Because you know, we're not so informed all of the time, not knowledgeable about the credits and the things that the IRS has available through our website. Sometimes we leave money on the table. Sometimes we just don't fill out, or go look for the forms that are available to us, or reach out to, a tax preparer that could assist us. Really, guys, I want you to just look at all of these links, these publications that Veronica talked about, save them to your desktop, save them in a file, put them in your favorites, put it in your bookmarks. Hopefully, we'll get a copy of this to you so that you can reference all of this helpful information. It was a lot of information. Don't leave money on the table. Do we have any questions in the room here in the chat? Any questions at all? We're ready, willing, and able.
And as Chris stated, Chris, you could go move on. But, even though next it says, I thank you, but for your time, your investment, But moreover, on our next slide, I'm going to provide you with my contact information. If you have a question, make sure you email me your question. When you send that question to me, make sure you bullet out all the facts of your question so I can give you the best answer available. I will give it to you in writing, and you can keep that as a resource. We talked about setting up those folders, and I tell you, some people ask, well, how long should I maintain my records? You know, people ask that. You have to understand that for refunds, you get 3 years, but for the IRS to collect the money, we have 10. I have records that go back 15 years, which I know I need to get rid of. And I can hear all you saying, why did you keep that stuff that long? But I wanted to make sure that I had all that. So that's my email, that's my telephone number, and that e-fax number are for those sensitive documents that you get. You got that notice. You start getting notices, or if you start getting transcripts, those are the flags that may say you may have been compromised. You may start getting phone calls about questions. Anything that you're not sure about, let's talk about it and let's come up with a viable plan to assist you. Okay, I got some questions in advance, Chris, that we are going to go over now. And the questions that Chris and I are going to have a discussion about right now, we are going to make sure that you get those in writing because we know it's a lot of information. But these may have been some things that have been rolling around in your head and you weren't really sure about it. So, all right, Chris, it's baseball season, so I am pitching to you at first base. So let's get to it.
Okay. Now the questions are, give me a second.
No problem. No problem at all. Again, thanking all of you for just taking time out of your busy schedule to join us. We really appreciate you. And also, if you can think of some topics or something else you would like for us to share with you, then make sure you share it. And we will make sure that we reach back out. Okay, go ahead, Chris, fire away.
So I have a question from one of our business owners.
Yes.
The question is, are they able to find, you said you're able to find tax preparers on irs.gov. Are these credentialed individuals? How are they able to be verified? What does the IRS look at as far as the background of the tax preparers, and how can they basically trust that these are you know secure individuals that they can go to for their tax questions and information?
Okay, so the thing that will tell you about a credentialed tax preparer, you have a couple options. Of course, you can go online and check them out on LinkedIn, check them out on Facebook. But if you go on irs.gov, we require our tax preparers to have continuing education credits every year. They have to be up on the tax laws. They have to, and they will be accredited, and you will see it online. Also, you will see if a preparer has had some problems in the past, high reject levels, potential fraud, all that is public knowledge. But if they are good preparers, they will be credentialed and they will be shown on irs.gov. Just because your preparer is not on irs.gov does not mean that they are not credentialed. You can always call in and ask us questions at 800-829-1040. And we will, and Chris is going to put that in the chat. I know sometimes a lot of people say, well, I cannot get through on that number. You have to understand that calls shift all during the day from East Coast, West Coast, from north to south. You try to call in at 12 in the afternoon, you got to understand that the West Coast is coming up because of that 3-hour difference. So make sure when you call, you have all of your information prepared, you have your questions, you have all the materials that you need right at your disposal. I had just got a question. Someone had asked, can you talk about taxes and income from grants and loans? They said their friend receives lots of grants, but it's counted as income, and do they have to pay taxes on it? Of course. We're going to send out a link that talks about grants and scholarships to you. And other types of grants. So make sure you review it. Talks about your travel, study, similar purposes. Some people may be working overseas That deals with treaties. Is my income from a foreign country taxable? It depends on where you're from. Lots of people tend to work overseas because a lot of that income is not taxable. It depends on the country. So if you get an offer, be careful to make sure that you are aware what that entails. Okay, Chris, what else do you have up?
I have a question about general business credits and deductions. Are there specific industries or specific businesses that the IRS gives information for through the website that they can have readily accessible so that they can, of course, apply their, for their credits or the deductions and get that money back that you were talking about?
Of course. So the question talks about business expenses and credits. We talked about those small business workshops that deal with industry specific areas. We talked about those steel toe boots, those flame retardant pants. You may, in your business, the building that you have, you may be eligible for a opportunity zone grant, which generally speaks to you securing real estate in an area that is growing. So go in and find out. You get opportunity zone credits federally, from the state of Maryland, and from whatever city jurisdiction you live in. So for all those expenses that you're not sure about, we have lots of publications. You can even put the expense in that little search engine box we talked about. But make sure, I always say, always have more than you need, because the burden of proof is going to fall on you. If you are not sure about it, go in, take a look at it. If you have a tax professional, ask them about it. And Chris put the business tax credits in there. Okay, so I think we have a question in the chat, Chris. I just saw it pop up.
Yes, the question reads, is it true you can expense clothing if it's specified in a contract, the type of attire for an event?
Can you dispense clothing was the question.
Expense clothing.
Expense, I apologize. Give it to me again, Chris, because I cannot see the chat. Let me
No
see.
problem.
Go right ahead.
Is it true? Is it
Uh-huh.
true you can expense clothing if it's specified in a contract, the type of attire for an event?
Okay. So remember that an expense, regardless of whether it is tangible or intangible, because it could be goodwill, it depends on your type of business. So as an example, if you are a designer and you are holding an event, then the cost of those particular clothing, the type of clothing for that particular event that you are sponsoring, if that is a part of the services that you provide, then that expense may be deductible. It depends on your type of, it doesn't speak as, it could speak to the contract because that's something between you and your client. But what you want to know is that clothing tied to my business? Am I a designer? What about those textiles, the fabric for that particular event? The contractual part is between you and your client. We can't speak to what is in the contract itself without seeing it. That's why I said, when you ask me a question, bullet it all out so I can make sure I give you the best response that I have. But for clothing, if that is related to your particular business, yes, it may be an expense, because that's a part of your cost of goods. So yes, it may be, but the contract is between you and the individual. We cannot speak to the contract without looking at the details. So we're going to make sure that for your business, you read that carefully. But if you're talking about the expense for clothing or any other product that you provide, it may be deductible, yes, as an expense. Okay. All right, let's see what else we have.
One more thing, Veronica. There's been a lot of folks that have been receiving emails and phone calls regarding leaving money on the table for employment. What's that about?
Leaving money on the table for employment.
So folks are getting phone calls, they're getting emails saying, "Hey, you're entitled to a credit back. You're leaving money on the table. If you have employees and you can actually be an employee yourself, we can help you get money back." I know that it's part of the I know it's part of the Dirty Dozen, but can you kind of give some light as to what that is? What are these
Sure.
phone calls? Are they coming from the IRS? Are they legitimate?
Okay, so what Chris is speaking to regarding these phone calls is leaving money on the table for your employees is employee retention credit. That was something that came out during COVID to try to help small business owners keep their employees with income. Even though things had changed, we were shut down for a little while, things got a little tight. If you are entitled to the employee retention credit, you can review the requirements for that for yourself. It may be a scam because no one can verify or nobody can guarantee, again, how much money you're going to get. Remember, we just talked about that. If I call you and I say, okay, Miss Smith, I can guarantee that you're going to get $25,000, that person knows absolutely nothing about you. If they are going to the right, you go to the left. Stay away, protect your business, protect your reputation, protect yourself. Okay. So we talked about that before regarding business expenses. We talked about using the floor plan for your house, space, all of that good stuff. Business use of the home is in publication 509. How are you going to depreciate that house? Are you self-employed? Do you have a partner? Is a part of it from rental income? So make sure you have all those facts together. And we have a small business tax guide that will help you with that as well. And like I said, we were talking about someone asked, is a home office deduction, is it capped at $1,500 per year? There are two methods for business use of the home. So are you going to use the square footage method, or are you going to actually use the method for the utilization of the entire house? So there are two methods that you may want to take a look at regarding that. Chris, you have any more questions for me? Oh, I'm sorry. It's called the simplified. I do apologize. I'm looking to make sure it's the simplified version is $5 per square foot, or you could just take the maximum, which includes all of the expenses that are tied to that. So just make sure you take a look at both of them and find out which one will give you the bigger deduction. All right, Chris, back at you.
Does the form 8829 expenses for business use of the home, would that help for our business owners to find out that business use of the home?
Most definitely. I encourage you to use that form, the 8829 that Chris just talked about, but also we can always use our handy dandy search engine that we talked about in the upper right-hand corner, and that will give you lots of good information. Related to that employee retention credit, a lot of small business owners took the employee retention credit and they were not actually entitled to it. So what the government has done at this time until May is to afford you the opportunity to pay back those monies that you may not have been entitled to. And we would have let you know about that. But it was a great opportunity for those individuals that used it for what it was used for during COVID. So just keep that in mind as well. And mileage. We were talking about if you're a business owner and you use a monthly Metro Pass, you can put that down as an expense as well. In addition to, we talked about gas, mileage, depreciation, any public transportation that will get you where you need to. You can have cleaning, you can claim travel deductions, cleaning expenses, depending upon your type of business. So we need to keep all of those, keep those in mind. You have anything else, Chris?
One last question. How does one stay informed about the latest IRS information, policy changes, helpful tidbits, topics? How does one stay informed about that information?
Yep, we talked about that earlier. You can stay informed by getting a subscription. You can get e-news for small business owners and self-employed individuals. The only thing that I encourage you to do is when you sign up for that subscription, be very specific. We talked about depending upon your vocation. I made a mistake when I first signed up for that. I was getting stuff for everything and I didn't need everything. So you have to go in and make sure you detail that. Also, we will make sure that we send that information to you and make sure that if you do sign up for the e-news subscriptions that you get that timely. If there are any particular topics for you that you might need, let me know. And then we will make sure, we will make sure that that is given to you. So I would like to take this opportunity again to thank you all for your questions, for your time, sharing your resources and your talents with us and our surrounding communities. I would also like to take this opportunity to just thank our sponsors for allowing us to come for filing season updates. And if you have any questions, let us know. And if we can be of any service to you or anyone else that you know in the future, reach out to Chris and I, and we are here. So again, we wish you much success in your business. We thank you for the investment that you have made, but most of all, we thank you for fulfilling your dream. And that is all that Chris and I have at this time. Thank you all so very much. Be well. And happy
Thank you.
spring.
Thank you so much. Oh my God, you know what? We're gonna have to do this again because we definitely need more time for all this information. You know that? Because businesses are on different levels. So, you know, there'll be different things that will apply to them and how they will get their situations, should I say, making sure everything's in order before they're submitting and maybe after they've submitted, you know. I want to thank you so much, Veronica and Chris. This has been an amazing presentation today. I definitely want to welcome you guys back. Any information that helps our small businesses is so valuable. So thank you so much. I also want to take this opportunity to thank Ms. Magosi, our acting Senior Vice President and Chief Procurement Officers, for bringing welcome and greetings this morning. And I must thank my team, the Small Business Programs Office Certification and Outreach Team, Marlo, Michael, Shanae, and Lily. I tell you, I thank you guys. You do all this great stuff in the background, and I'm always appreciative of everything that you do to make our presentation successful. As for the businesses, I hope you were able to learn some important information. It's going to help your business grow and help your business to stay on tune. So please make sure you took some good notes. Please make sure that you look at the contact information that Veronica and Chris put in the chat. Remember, certification is the key to participation, and we look forward to your certification applications coming here into Ramada. As you can see, we have a Meet the Primes in person opportunity for Meet the Primes. Please come out on April 30th to our New Carrollton location. We look forward to having you actually be able to meet and talk to prime contractors and opportunities up front, close and personal. Thank you again. And I want all of you to have a great rest of your day. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you. That concludes our presentation. Have a great day. We look forward to having you attend our Meet the Primes on April 30th.